Well, it's now 1978. There are no cars lined up in front of this gas station, but some say there is a mini crisis developing in gasoline supplies.
The Capital District is more vulnerable than other parts of New York State.
Most of the state's 83,000 pumps don't register beyond 99.9 cents.
I don't believe it. They don't believe it. The Retailers Association themselves don't believe it. How can I believe it?
Gas prices today can often drive motorists crazy. It started around 1973 when a rift in foreign relations sent the price of oil soaring and cut vital oil exports to much of the world. Things cooled off for a while. In fact, this Rotterdam gas station owner felt comfortable enough to drop prices to 36 cents to celebrate his 36th birthday.
Don't you figure you're going to lose your shirt on this deal?
It's not that the money factor isn't always the ultimate thing.
What are you doing this for then?
Because I care.
Police cared about something else, the traffic jam he caused.
There hasn't been a line of cars like this at a gas station since the 1973 Arab oil embargo, but we can guarantee you there is no gas shortage.
The chief had a friendly happy birthday chat.
You want to stand out here and give dollar bills away, you're going to have a traffic hazard. That's all I'm telling you. Very simple.
Well, whatever I have to do to comply, I will.
The generous chief let the party continue with some extra help from officers. However, that joy didn't last long. Social unrest during the Iranian Revolution plunged the U.S. into another big oil scare a short time later.
Prices are going up as the law of supply and demand goes to work. In some places, the price for unleaded gas has gone up a nickel in 1 week alone.
A top executive representing gas retailers in the Capital District warned our area could suffer more than others.
The Capital District is more vulnerable than other parts of New York State because we aren't either in the Port of New York, where part of our product comes from, nor in Buffalo, where the state's only 2 refineries come from.
An emergency supply of gas was put to use, but supplies remained tight. Gas station owners were forced into some unpleasant options or risk running on fumes.
I have a 24-hour station here and I might close down the night shift. That's one alternative. I have another alternative where I could directly allocate to the customers on a odd and even basis like we did at the end of the energy crisis. I could also sell 1,000 gallons a day and stop it there. Okay, there's many alternatives. There's also another alternative is to raise the price.
This man decided to close on Sundays.
I just took, in my instance, took the amount of gallons I was allocated, divided by the number of days in the month, and that's how much I could sell.
A mechanic in Wilton pumped the brakes on gas, going full throttle on car repairs instead.
You're not going to see all the grocery stores and garages like myself with gas pumps anymore. That's what I feel.
It's kind of a sort of an end of an era in America almost.
You could say that, yeah.
Some tried to stay a step ahead by buying tons of gas and storing it away. Experts quickly warned against that.
If someone came up to you and asked to store a stick of dynamite in the trunk of your car, you'd probably think they were crazy. Yet that's the kind of risk you run by storing just 1 gallon of gasoline in your trunk thinking you're going to beat the gas crisis. 1 gallon of gasoline has the explosive force of 14 sticks of dynamite.
Another problem. Many gas stations had pumps that couldn't be programmed to charge more than 99 cents a gallon. The state gave them special permission to charge by the half gallon instead.
When the change takes effect, the pricing portion of the meter will be blocked out. A sign will replace it indicating the price at half a gallon. In addition, a big sign will be placed on top of the pump indicating a price by the gallon.
This man didn't think there was any shortage at all. He made a giant sign to let the world know and parked near a Central Avenue gas station.
I don't believe it. They don't believe it. The Retailers Association themselves don't believe it. How can I believe it?
The police were called, but he was allowed to stay.
Well, maybe they thought I was illegally parked or this was illegal or something, but I think it's hurting them a little bit. I'm sorry for them, but I believe the principle is bigger than the little guy, and I'd like to push it a little bit.
A lucky handful of drivers paid very close attention to their radio.
It's on the corner of Wolf Road and Sand Creek Road.
The owner of a Colony gas station cut prices to 24 cents a gallon, a rollback to the 1950s. Once word got out on radio station WTRY, lines quickly formed, tying up the busy Colony intersection. Motorists didn't mind.
I'm real happy. $3.50 to fill it up, that's great. It really is.
How much does it usually cost you to fill it up?
About $10.
We were listening for it, and I heard it down the road, so I got on my horse and got here.
I had the radio on. Who knew?
I knew it.
From yesterday, I knew it.
Well, it brings me back to about before 1973, and I wish the hell it'd stay like this.
But there was a catch. Only the first 98 cars. WTRY was 9:80 a.m. on the radio, got the deal.
For those not lucky enough to get in on this gas of a deal, there is a consolation prize, a foot-long submarine at a local sub shop.
Plans to deal with the energy crisis included something very corny, this ethanol distilling plant in Rensselaer.
Now, what about a source of corn for the Bray Terminal Distillery? Well, a local cornfield is a good idea, and this one here, just about a mile south of the Bray Terminal, is as likely a spot as any. In fact, we understand that the source of corn for the distillery will be local farmers.
There was also something quite cheesy.
For years, cheese manufacturers have been plagued with the problem of how to dispose of cheese whey. That's the waste left over from the cheese-making process. They've tried various methods, but none with the profit potential of a plan announced today by New York State Energy Commissioner James LaRocca.
Under a contract with the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, Cornell University has prepared a preliminary report which shows that we may be able to produce as much as 2.5 million gallons of ethanol each year from the 1.2 billion pounds of cheese whey now produced in the North Country alone.
But even as the oil supplies finally replenished, motorists who hoped prices would drop like a rock got a nasty surprise. Here's Chris Bruner.
CBS reported yesterday that America is literally awash with gasoline. Imports have been cut by a third, and storage tanks are filled to the brim. Oil companies have even resorted to storing the stuff in idle tankers. It's a far cry from the situation facing Americans at the pump exactly 1 year ago.
Well, with all this gasoline floating around, you'd expect free market forces to start taking over and the price here at the pump to start dropping precipitously. Well, it's just not going to happen.
Well, I think the primary reason for that is the fact that the producing countries, the Persian Gulf countries, the Saudi Arabia and Iran, and the rest of the OPEC countries haven't dropped their prices substantially. There have been some drops on the premiums they have been charging, which was a bonus on top of their posted prices, but for the most part, they have not dropped their wholesale prices.
And oil dealers like Fred Kaplan are faced with paying more for their products because domestic prices will rise. Government price controls are being tapered off and will end September 30th, 1981. If there is some relief at the pump, it will be only a matter of a few pennies as the local people try to unload their excess product.
It's putting a pinch on our business, and it's putting a pinch on the retailers. The retailers in particular are caught in a position now where they're selling less product and making less of a profit.
If there is any consolation in the gasoline picture, it seems that higher prices are forcing conservation on Americans, and that means there's plenty of gas to go around, at least for now. Chris Bruner, 13 News in Schenectady.
The year that story aired, in 1980, the average price of gas in the country cost $1.19 a gallon. By 1985, it had actually dropped and was even below $1 for a bit. But gas climbed above the $1 mark in the late 1980s. The Gulf War in the 1990s didn't help. However, oil experts said here in New York, we were being taken advantage of. Diane Estabrook explains.
Gas prices still average about $1.33 a gallon here in the capital region. The state energy office says that price should be about $1.18.
Current supplies of gasoline are very strong. Demand at this time of the year is down. Therefore, we should see some more significant decreases in gasoline.
Oil companies claim they're using the drop in oil prices to compensate themselves for the costs they absorbed when oil prices shot up last fall. But state officials don't buy it.
We have seen in the fourth quarter for a lot of the major oil companies substantial increases in their profit margins and in their profits. And we feel, in light of the situation in the Middle East, that that should not be happening.
The state energy office encourages motorists to use regular gasoline instead of the premium varieties and shop around for the best prices. If you need help, the state energy office conducts weekly surveys and can tell you how much you should be paying for a gallon of gasoline.
20 years later, those prices would seem like a bargain. Now, $4 a gallon, not far-fetched. Some motorists tried to grin and bear it.
You gotta drive, you gotta drive.
For now, this truck's mostly used for business, and
we got to do what we got to do.
CDTA was prepared for an influx of new customers who try to avoid the pain altogether.
People do make a change in the way they commute to work when gas prices go up to about $4 a gallon.
As of this taping, in June 2025, gas is $3.22 a gallon on average in New York State, with looming price hikes again amid conflicts between Israel and Iran. To see News Channel 13's coverage of other big stories in the capital region and around the world, head to our News Channel 13 YouTube page and click on News Vault 13. For now, opening News Vault 13, I'm Rachel Teedy.